Steve. I'm curious, when you come back from the road trip that you guys came back on, are you a believer in momentum and things carrying through from one game to the other, or is it just each game kind of has its own sort of organic nature?
I think momentum's a tricky subject. I think confidence is maybe a better, indicator or determinant of what momentum represents. I think that, we don't go into this game saying, hey, we have momentum, but maybe we have a little more confidence in the big picture. We was a solid trip. I know we didn't necessarily play a bunch of teams at the top of the division, but we, I thought for the most part continued to play and be professional and apply ourselves the appropriate way. And when you do that, you get better. It's not just about wins and losses. So I thought we made some improvements, and now we're back from that trip and we have a big challenge tonight.
Without Joe Harris, in the last game, you used Patty Mills in his place in the second half. I know you don't like to talk starting lineups, but do you see Patty as the guy who's going to step in for him and kind of take a lot of his minutes tonight?
Well, he'll definitely, have an opportunity to play more. We're down a shooter, and so among other things that Joe provides. But I think that is important to us to have someone who can space the floor, someone that can make shots, and so that puts more of a burden on Patty.
Coach, 2 quick questions. Is there any update on the severity of Joe's ankle sprain? It looked like he was kind of laboring out there before you pulled him.
Yeah, he is going to probably miss a few games, and then we'll have it re-imaged and see where he's at.
Cool. And earlier today, Bruce said that one of the biggest changes for you from year 1 to year 2 is your use of timeouts. Was that intentional for you over the offseason, or is that just something that's just been a byproduct of the way these games have gone?
I haven't noticed a difference, so I don't know. Maybe I'm no better. I don't know.
Steve, Golden State's offense is back to being one of the best in the league. How has it evolved over the past 7 years since Steve Fair came aboard? And just what have you seen? There have been personnel changes and the league has seemingly adapted to slow them down. Just how are they still so effective?
I think they just have obviously it goes without saying that Steph is, one of the great players of all time, and that Draymond is an incredible facilitator for him. But I think that they just have such a clear identity. Especially even this year as opposed to last year, there's just a clear identity, an understanding of what, their mission is offensively. And there's no kind of conflicting forces out there. Everyone's on the same page, trying to play the same way. And I think that's why they have so much success, after, Steph's brilliance and Draymond's ability to facilitate for him.
I thought I was going to ask, sorry. Too early to see to look at a game like this as a kind of a marker.
I think you can think of all games as a marker. I think that this one is a marker, but in 3 weeks, another game is a marker. So I think it's a marker of this moment in time. And that at the end of the year, that it may not say where you're going to end up, but for today, for this kind of stretch, for this week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, or this early part of the season, I think it is a marker. But like I said, that's not permanent. It's just a marker.
Actually, where is your group in terms of forging this season's identity?
Well, I think we're in the middle of the road. I think we've made great strides, considering we had a group a week or two into training camp that is no longer the group. And we have to we went from being a historically great offensive team to a team that struggles to score. And so I've been really proud of the way our guys have adapted to that challenge and tried to play and find an identity and listened and worked and engaged in that process. And so I think we're improving. The trends are in the right direction, but we still got a ways to go. We got to be relentless with our willingness to stick to that kind of vision or plan, because we don't just have, the overwhelming offensive talent that, we have in combination when the way we started training camp. So but that's just the nature of our challenge this year. And I think it's a fun one. It's exciting for us. And I love watching our guys try to find that identity, try to find that way of being successful with one another and trying to find commonality and connectivity. So really proud of the way they've approached it and the improvement and strides they've made thus far.
Coach, your scoring at the rim is down dramatically, specifically. Obviously, Irving being not out and Claxton being out is a big part of that. But what can you do in the meantime, to get more scoring at the rim, more layups, more dunks?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're trying to play early. We're trying to play quicker as far as, not letting the defense set and play against a loaded defense. We're trying to play early and move the ball if the first action isn't fruitful, and get straight to the second action and subsequent actions, so that you're not allowing a defense a chance to survey and understand what they're playing against. They're constantly having to make decisions and make them work and challenge their judgment and ability. And I think for this group, it's so important. We can't just walk down the court, space the floor, and go. Because it's just not the same. I mean, it's the gravity that Kyrie would bring in, not to mention his talent. So you take a big cog out of it, and we have to find different ways to do that. So I think it's through our willingness to share, to trust, to move it, play early, get to our second and third action if necessary, without hesitation, and to be relentless with our willingness to make the defense work, change positions, make decisions on the fly. And that'll be our way of getting into the paint more often.
Coach, kind of in a similar vein, Joe, he doesn't necessarily need to be shooting the ball to have an impact out there. He commands attention just with his ability to shoot. How do you replace that when, he led the league in 3-point percentage last year? You guys are going to respect him versus anybody else that you might plug in there might not have the same, gravity as Joe. How do you replace that?
Yeah, we can't replace it. Sure, Patty can take some of that burden, but you can't replace having, Joe, because one, we can't replace Patty can't just take all his minutes and Patty's minutes. So you can also have lineups with Patty and Joe out there. And then Joe's ability to shoot with very little space creates even more gravity. So you can't replace it, but we can find other ways to get the ball inside and move it and create good opportunities for ourselves.
Steve, do you have any update on how much longer Paul will be away from you guys?
I don't. Sorry.
Just go ahead. I'm curious. One, this is twofold. One, with you mentioned Kyrie. I'm curious if you can shed. Obviously, he's not playing, practicing, but can you shed any light on what he's doing and how he's staying in shape and what kind of conversations you're having?
Sorry.
Secondly, with Joe Harris, do you have a grade on his answer? On his ankle.
I don't have a grade. I'm not sure that we gave out grades anyways, but I don't have a grade on Joe's ankle. But and Kyrie, I stay in touch with Kyrie, but we don't really talk about basketball. Just stay in touch and make sure everything's good with him.